Hi, and welcome to another episode of Broke But Not Out. I'm your host, Dave Shannon, and today I want to get into something that's really personal and a big thing I went through. And it kind of wants to get in, or I want to get into more of like suicide prevention, all that sort of thing. Because there was a point in time in my life where I was really low, where I was at that point. And if you listen to the first episode, I really needed help. And it was just, it was a dumb reason why too, because my ex and I were going through a breakup. She was seeing an older guy, who's like old enough to be her dad, but at the same time too, she was living or she was starting to move in next door, like literally the house right next door. So not only when I was trying to get over things, I kept seeing her every day. I got to watch her and her new boyfriend flaunt the relationship, right in front of me, which did not help. I started getting into a low spot where I was pretty much drinking my supper. Um, I was drinking a small Jack or a small bottle of Jack every night just to go to bed. Um, I've never exactly thought of myself being an alcoholic, but that was probably the closest I've ever been. And I mean, it, I lost roughly about 65 pounds. I lost a lot of weight and it was just due to not eating. I wasn't really wanting to go to work. I wasn't wanting to do anything. And so, it just got to a massive low point where it was just dumb because looking back on all that, she was not worth it. It was a hard thing to deal with. And it's hard to put yourself in that mindset to where you have to realize that the person you think you're in love with doesn't love you back, doesn't want to be with you, but doesn't want to let go of you because she would sit there and then after a few days of being with that other guy, she'd come over, hang out, and basically make sure that she could keep some sort of tabs on me. Um, we'd end up, I'd end up being stupid and sleeping with her, and it was not good and begging for her to come back, and it was a low point in my life to the point where if she didn't want to come over or if I couldn't get her to come and be with us and be in our family, I ran out of options, I thought. So the first night that I tried something, and it was really dumb because I had the boys. The boys lived with me, and at that point in time, my oldest was 11. Um, the next one was, let's see, 8, and then 6, and then a year and a half old. So, which wasn't very smart of me. And like I said, this is back in 2015, so it's been a while. But the way our apartment was set up, my room was hooked to the living room. Then there was a door that locked, and then the rest of the house was beyond that. And I decided to lock the door that was in between the two rooms. And I found a support hanging stud. And basically, I don't think you need all the details, but put a rope up there, put it around my neck, and try to finish myself off that way. Now, it's weird when you're sitting there, you're starting to lose hope, lose consciousness. All of a sudden, it's like something just kicked me right in the ass and told me to knock it off. And basically, it was like all of a sudden, before I had absolutely no way out, I managed to get it. somewhat of a grab on it and get it, you know, get my head out of it, which sucked because I had the marks around my neck. And I mean, it wasn't good. My friend at the time, he managed to, talk some sense into me for a couple weeks. And I was all good. Everything was getting better. And I was starting to kind of see somebody, but that ended up falling through, which I don't fault her for it at all. And then New Year's Eve night in 2016 New Year's Eve night, I got to another low point where, because at this point in time, I was not even really eating at all. And it was just basically going through about 2 packs of cigarettes a day and going through y- a thing of whiskey every night and then just basically drowning my sorrows in that. But again, I had the boys at home and I got to watch her making out with the guy and taking off and going out to a party. So that really set me off. Went into the bathroom, found every type of pill I could find. And I mean, I swallowed quite a bit of pills. Now, what's funny is the fact that I fell asleep. Next thing I know, an hour later, woke up like somebody had just kicked me right in the stomach again, ran out to the bathroom, puked everything up, and I just could not believe how dumb I was over something so stupid because any way you look at it, that really didn't matter. I should have put more emphasis at the time of what I had. I had my kids. She wasn't worth that. And the fact that she could have been the reason why I got so desperate to take myself out, it's pretty pathetic because yeah, sure, I may feel like I end, when you commit suicide, you feel like you end your pain. You don't ever think in that mindset of what you're going to do to the people that love you and the people that are around you. Now, if you look at it, I have no idea where my kids would be right now if that would have happened. And I got to be on the other end of it when my son tried this last June. He took a bunch of his medication. Luckily, my wife was home, got him the help, got him rushed to the emergency room. That was a scary thing because that puts yourself on the other end of it. And when you're on the other end of it, you realize how dumb it really is. And the fact that there is so many ways out there to get help that it's unbelievable. I mean, I understand what you're going through on both ends because when you get to that point, though, you think there's nothing else worth living for, nothing else matters. I'm telling you that there is always something out there that makes everything matter. There, no matter how you look at it, there is something. There's a friend, there's a loved one, there's a child, there's parents, there's always somebody there that cares. And you've really got to understand and try to get yourself out of that negative mindset, which I mean, it's bad when you get yourself in that deep and you really try to do it. It's a hard thing to get out of. And I mean, it does. It sucks the life out of you even before it sucks the life out of you. And the only thing I can say is if anybody's out there that's listening and is really getting into that deep spot, please get help. There's so many lines out there. There's so much suicide prevention. Um, Even like military, there's so many help lines out there. Call. a friend, call a loved one, and just talk. There's somebody out there for everybody to talk to. Even when you think you're completely alone, you can always find someone to talk to. And before you get down into that deepest, darkest part of your life, just try to seek help first. Because yeah, you may think that you've got nothing worth it, nothing worth living for. And it may come down to you always thinking that, but just remember that, like I said, there's always somebody out there that cares, and you're going to put that person through more hell than you could ever imagine. And they shouldn't have to deal with what they're dealing with on top of worrying. How do I put it? This is sounding so not right. But you never realize what you put your loved ones through if you're successful in doing it. Because there's always somebody that has to take responsibility for it. And like I said, where would my kids be? My kids would have taken responsibility over me doing something stupid. They would have ended up living with their mother, and who knows what life they would have had. I'm sure that, my ex, I don't know, she's got enough family support in there that her family is a great family. Her aunt, which has helped raise my oldest son, she's amazing. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the boys would have been totally screwed and, everything would have been bad. But in the same sense, what would they have thought of me, or what would they have, how differently would their life have turned out? And especially my little one, he would never have remembered me. And the way I see how he acts when he's around me, I mean, he's attached to me all the time. He drives me insane. But where would he have been if something like this would have happened? How differently his life would have been. I would have never met my wife. I would have never met the two sons I adopted. I mean, there's just so much in life that would have changed. The course of everything would have been different. But remember, there's always hope out there. And if you're on the other end of that and you know that one of your friends is kind of getting low, please give them a call. Give them a call, talk to them, see how they're doing. You would not believe the little things that matter much more than they don't. Even just calling up somebody you haven't talked to in a while and just saying, "Hey, how's it going?" That means a lot because you have no idea what spot and time they're in their life. I mean, for all they're doing great, but they could be on the other end of that too, where they're not doing okay, about ready to just end it all. And you could be the voice that changes that. You could be the voice that brings them up and remembers that, hey, life might be worth living. So always try to stay, positive towards everyone. Try to keep yourself out of that dark spot because those demons are bad. And those demons will haunt you, and those demons will take everything from you. You just got to learn how to be stronger than them demons, tame the demons. And I'm not religious by any means, but if that's what you need to seek some help, then by all means, go see it, go to a church. Um, you know, there's so many lines out there. Just look anything up for suicide prevention. There's a lot out there for help. There's always somebody willing to help you. So I know tonight's going to be a little shorter of an episode. I just wanted to get into that point. It is also really late, and I didn't get a chance to really go at a longer episode. But please, guys, just remember, always seek out help, or seek out that friend you haven't talked to in a while, and just see how it's going. Talk to them, say hi, reconnect. You might be what saves their life. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.